It's a good win. There's a lot of people. It's like Woodstock, except everybody's got their clothes on.
But eat a damn snack.
You're like my wife when you get in space. You just get lost.
It's ahead! Short steps are better than long steps. That's the only time in your life you're going to hear short is better than long. It's ahead!
Episode 55 at 614 Headsets time. We're getting into the thick of it. The voices are a little scratchy, so bear with us as we're in the thick of two-a-days. But, hey, I just want to thank all of you for joining us. It's been a minute. We've gotten pretty dang busy. We found some time to get together. Tonight we're going to put together a little bit of kind of two different episodes, right? Tonight we're going to get into our all gas teams, right? We're going to put together our super teams of the best offensive and defensive teams around Central Ohio that we could put together. And we're also going to talk about our top games from weeks 1 through 3 of the high school football season, right? Which we've always just called our first quarter, right? So if you're new and you weren't riding with us last year, understand that Ryan's a head coach, Donovan works a real job, as we like to say on here, right? And he coaches, and I'm offensive coordinator. We all got families. We start to back off a little bit now. And so what you're going to start to see is after this episode, we're going to be off for a couple weeks, right? But we're going to try to take the 2024 season and break it into 4 quarters and just give updates about our team, updates about football, how things are going on, and preview top games. And then we hit it big again. Then when our seasons are over again, then we'll start a new season 3. Nobody ever thought we get to season 3, right? It gets real then. But hey, like we said, football is unconditional love. Thank you, everybody, for riding with us. Thank you for making season 2 such a success. We have been, aside from the times where we've taken breaks, like this year has skyrocketed, right? We've had month after month of record downloads and things and reach more people and communicate with people. So we really appreciate all of you. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe. And we just can't wait to get into it. Let's go. Let's get into these. We got a little thought of the pod as always, but we're going to make this thought of the seasons a little bit, right? Since you're not going to hear from us from a couple weeks. Thought of the season, right? Let's get into it. Ryan, what's your thought of the season?
When we talked about it, I was like, oh man, we just talked about this as a team at practice. And it's something that at this point in the year, I feel like we're, like you said, we're all busy, right? We're all grinding it out, and it gets old, right? Hitting your own same guys back day after day, all the time, hitting the same guys. And so yesterday we just had guys that we didn't have any juice. Our kid, it was one of those days. You guys know those days. So I told him we got to change our attitude of that we get to come here, right? Not that we have to. And that's something that like all of our coaches were like, that man, that's a fact of how our kids are feeling right now. Like we have to be thankful that we're playing this game and not try to feel like it's a grind, because it does become a grind. So like we did a lot of just football stuff instead of the indie drills, the small group drills today. We played football today at practice just to break that up a little bit and make sure that our kids are just flying around and having fun still.
So changed it up. Yeah, that's good. Like we did the same thing today. Like we're in the same boat as you. Did not love the practice yesterday. And today it was doing something different. We put the boards on the GL. We went old school. And from the moment we just got after and competed and hit a little bit just to change the script a little bit and break the monotony of how things have been.
Yeah. So I think that's like a thing for us, is just being thankful that we get to do what we get to do. And it's the same as coaches, right? I feel like when we all talk as coaches, every coach that I talk to, we're like, this is struggling. We're worried about this. We're worried about that. And sometimes we get away from just being thankful for the relationships that we're building and being able to grow the young men that we are.
Love it. I think it, for me, my thought heading into the season, or thoughts for other coaches and things, is a couple different things, right? In my mind right now, it's where we're at as a team is culture over scheme. Culture over scheme. Jack of all trades, but a master of none. This is in my mind right now because we've been really thankful to bring a group up through the last couple of years that we've really haven't had to get too much in the culture because we had an established culture last year. We came in and laid that foundation in 2 years. We were skiing. Whereas now we had to really pull back even more and just stress about relentless finishing the play, staying glued in the box and up front, going back to what's home. In our offense, this is home. We will do this and we will be great at this. And I think it helped today with where we were at. And it's just, and my third thing then, I guess, with all that in mind is as you get into the season is adaptability. You might have a plan going into the season and things quickly change. Keep an open mind, be ready to adapt, match your players, match your skill, things like that. Find something that works great for them. And I think every single person in here, anybody listening, how you're now is not how you're going to be in the middle of the year. You're going to have to adapt and figure out something to change and move kids around and do something different. So be open to that and be ready for that.
Yeah. My thought for this season, Coach Ward, our head coach at Gahanna, said this for a couple of years, and I've always loved it, like the idea of not having any regrets. Whether it's I think he targets it more at like seniors, especially not leaving your senior year with regrets. But I think us as coaches, and it applies to us as coaches, but us as coaches can do a good job emphasizing this to players of don't leave your year with your senior year or your junior year, or first year on varsity, whatever, leaving that season with regrets. And I think we get it confused sometimes of a kid or a coach might hear and go, oh, like no regrets. I could have had a better stat line or I could have worked harder to get this offer. It's not necessarily like the individual side. It's more the regret of what could I have done better to prepare myself to have the team in the best position possible. That's what I think a lot of it gets missed out on. Like we, all three of us played college football, right? So from an individual point of view, like we made it where we wanted to make it, but I'm sure all three of us have regrets from our high school career. We still remember, man, I wish I would have seen this block in this quarter of this game, or I wish I would have had this hinge block better or made this tackle. And so I think a lot of it is that attitude of no regrets from the preparation side, from the mentality side for players and for coaches, right? Not having that feeling of, was there something else I could have done to help the team or help the team prepare? Is my mentality that I hope the players get. Me as a coach, hope I can anchor in for this season and going forward.
Hey,
love it.
Donovan's terrible at this game because Donovan's terrible at movies, right? But when I hear no regrets,
I'm not either. I hate movies.
Neither one of you, but somebody might be listening. But that movie, We're the Millers, and the dude has no regrets tatted on his neck, but it's spelled wrong, and it's no regrets. So anytime somebody says no regrets, I just think of that movie where the guy's got it tatted across his neck and it's no regrets.
Hey, let's not make fun of nothing like that because I might have something very similar to that tatted on me.
It just makes me think of We're the Millers, no regrets. But hey, those are three great things. Be thankful.
That movie came out before I got these tattoos. I have regret nothing as a tattoo.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it spelled right?
Yeah, it's spelled completely right.
Good.
I made sure because literally I got it, and then that preview for that movie came out, and that was one of the previews that was like on TV, and all my boys in high school were like, "That's you."
If you had something misspelled on your body, I would love it. But hey, we're gonna get rolling, man. Let's do this. We got a lot of stuff to get into today, and we're super excited for it. And at this point in time, we got to tell you, hey, we're proud to partner with Fundraising University of Ohio. Brent Maxwell does a fantastic job. Even if you're somebody that maybe is listening to us and you're thinking about things to make a change for next year, because football coaches, you're probably not fundraising anymore right now, but think about Brent, think about Fundraising University of Ohio. If you happen to coach other sports, man, latch on now. This is a great time to set up or even just talk with Brent and think about switching to a different fundraising company that's going to make your life easier and set you up on new heights. But Fundraising University of Ohio offers a variety of fundraising efforts that helps football teams run profitable, effective, and fast-paced fundraisers designed to raise the most money in the shortest amount of time to reach their fundraising goals. Fundraising University of Ohio is locally owned, operated, and with their 6-step blitz system will help your team maximize profits. Brent Maxwell of Fundraising University will sit down and help you strategize and execute your fundraiser. And if you're interested in reaching out, contact Brent Maxwell at bmaxwell@fundraisingtheletteru.net or 740-501-8946. Brent's fantastic. Ryan's worked with him. A bunch of other coaches we know have worked with them as well, and they've all said great things. Reach out to Fundraising University of Ohio, dominate the day, make fundraising easy, and get more stuff for your team that's going to help you be better. So let's get into it.
All right, let's go. First to kick us off. Usually this would be the pick six segment, but today we got a special episode, so we're not hitting that. But we still want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Story Rivals, sponsoring this segment of our all gas defensive team. Story Rivals Sports Media, championships, friendships, and the life lessons are among the most meaningful part of the athletic competition. They are passionate about preserving them by offering the most unique highlight experience available.
That's right. And Story Rivals delivers your team's content with services designed to change the way you experience these unforgettable moments now and for a lifetime. Story Rivals now offers a complete team apparel and player shop customizable to your program. Contact them by email at info@storyrivals.com to schedule an appointment with a member of their team. Donovan's going to get us started here.
In the trenches.
In the trenches, the all-gas super team in the D-line. A lot of good names on there. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. A lot of good names from the D-line in Columbus right now. And let's just preface it with this. These are just some of the guys that in Columbus that have caught our eye always that we found when we were looking through this. So, yeah, this is nothing official. This is no shade at anybody else. This is just highlighting some of the players that we're familiar with, that we played, that we've heard from, that we got.
It's hard,
from.
man.
Yeah.
You're trying to take 30-plus teams in OCC, however many more there in the city, plus some of the outliers and different things. And some of these guys, we don't get to even see. It is hard to say, hey, we're going to make a team of 15 guys.
Right? Like, I'm more apt to pick a guy that I've saw, which isn't necessarily the best guy. But we haven't saw everybody or seen everybody. Make sure nobody gets offended. But this is a fun segment for us to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
Starting off with the D-line, I'm going to go through these. We're going to go back and comment as needed. But the first one, our all-gas defensive team at defensive line is Cal Thrush from Upper Arlington, committed to Michigan State. Just an absolute aggressive defensive end, long discipline, knows how to play the run, knows how to go up against the pass, was a force last year, and I'm sure he will be for his senior season again. Talil Spikes out of Afrocentric plays both ways and is pretty much dominant at both sides. I watched him play offensive line as well in our Trench Fest at Gahanna a month or so back, and he can do it from there too. You got Ty Newbert out of DeSales, committed to Ohio University, going to the MAC. Another guy he's a little more short and stout, but he's powerful. He's powerful in the run game. He's a powerful pass rusher. Two of my favorites that are pairs teammates at Groveport Madison. You got Keyshawn Calhoun, committed to Indiana, played more DN for a while. I think he's now more inside. He's long, he's fluid, right? He's an efficient pass rusher. He knows how to use some of his gifts athletically. And then his teammate Jalen Joyce, who I'll say right now, I think is the most underrated defensive lineman in the city. He's got one offer right now from Ohio Dominican. Should be getting more here soon, but had some like 72 tackles last year. I think 10.5, 11 sacks. Both those guys are a force. I think Jalen's a really underrated kid, man. And then last is Coach Sayers, kid over at Northland is Tyreek Lewis. Man, we saw him at the Trench Fest as well, and he's such an athletic rusher off the edge where he's doing moves that you see in one-on-ones, wide receivers, DBs. Right? He's got those kind of moves off the edge against tackles that just throws him off because he's so athletic. That's our six right there. I don't know if you guys want to add anything into those six, but I think Columbus is once again has a strong year of upperclassmen and underclassmen, but upperclassmen defensive linemen around in this city.
Yeah, I think for us,
go ahead, Ryan.
Look, I feel like for looking at that list, there's just dogs across that entire list. I went back and looked at kids' highlight tape, and he just dominates kids, right? And he just flies around, makes plays. And I looked at all their stuff, but Talil Spice, like he always stands out to me because I feel like for me, he's been there and played for 4 years, and people have talked about him for 4 years. I saw him at the Under Armour camp, like when I worked at and helped out there. And I told Coach Davis the one time, I was like, dude, I feel like this kid's been here for 6 years. And so it's his senior year, and I expect him to do some big things. And Afrocentric, they look good. They look really good. They look big up front, especially for a city team. They look really big up front. And I know they got a couple guys with offers there on the back end of things. And then also the two Groveport Madison kids, it's going to be tough for people to run on that football team there. Those guys fly around. They're tough on the inside. And then obviously my guy, Tyreek Lewis, I got to give him a shout out just because he's been with me for 4 years too. And he's grown so much and he's worked so hard to get his body to where it looks like it does now, where he has a lot of muscle and he flies around. And I feel like he doesn't get injured and he just plays so hard every single play, even in practice. He goes so hard against Malachi Hammond, and they were in the circle drill today. And Tyreek actually got him for the first time, and it was actually he gets so juiced up. So I'm just excited to watch him his senior year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like that list probably could have been even larger. I think the thing is, there's Central Ohio has been cranking out defensive linemen for a long time now. And I'll say ditto. And I've told people this. I think Jalen Joyce is one of the best interior defensive linemen I have seen in the last couple of years, like in Central Ohio. Like I really think he's so quick, so explosive, so fast in his first couple steps that he's a phenomenal player inside. And I'm not saying that against anybody else on this list, but I'm with you in terms of maybe one of the most underrated defensive linemen there is, and the production of what he could do and the havoc he could cause just with the penetration and things he does. Linebackers was a little different this year, Ryan. We struggled a little bit. I don't know if there's some guys we just don't know about or what.
I feel like that I don't know. I feel like we missed some guys on this, obviously, because there's definitely way better linebackers in Central Ohio than what we saw from some kids. Like looking across the list that we looked at and the kids of film that I watched, I just feel like we couldn't find dogs that we found last year for our all gas team, but I know they're out there. But the few that we did find that we were able to watch film on were Denham Cook from Bishop Hartley, committed to Pitt just recently. He's massive. He's a great ball player. He flies around, makes plays, and he's just a force there. And Bishop Hartley's going to have a great season, and I expect him to lead them and do a great job.
Man. I think they're cooking with something special right now.
I do.
I think our man over there is cooking something great with the culture right now. I think they're gearing up for a really big back to the old ways, a state championship run, Bishop Hartley.
I do too. I really do think that Birchfield's doing a great job. And then Terrell Holcomb from Gahanna Lincoln, your guys' guy, committed to Cincinnati. He does an amazing job, obviously, for you guys. You guys have had some great linebackers come in there too. And I feel like for him, he's one of, just from our times going against each other and stuff and watching him grow, but he seems like a guy that's, I think he's probably been one of your guys' better guys, even over the years that you guys have had some of those other guys like Jaden Yates and stuff. I think he's right up there with those guys or even better than them.
Yeah, Terrell's a kid who's been fighting through injuries when he was younger as a sophomore a couple of years ago, and you saw flashes and then move positions a little bit, but he's just such a long, rangy linebacker where you can really see his instincts shine. He's been working on his pass rush moves too. You can see that starting to come to fruition. He's a hell of a player, man. So is Denham Cook at Bishop Hartley. And like you guys said, there's more out there. There's plenty of good linebackers in this city and around the outer belt. I'm sure there's more out there we missed, but those two for sure are some special dudes.
Hey, to round it out, man, this might be the most DB group I've ever seen in Central Ohio lately. I'm going to rip through these guys, and there's a ton more, but this list is huge, right? And some of them are returners, right? Some of these guys were on the all-gas team even last year. But first guy I'm going to talk about is TJ Green from Reynoldsburg, committed to Boston College. He's a guy that he can play corner. He could play safety. I think he, at the high school level, super physical. You could probably even put him down as an alley player and do some different things. Caden Gebhart, I didn't have time to go back and look, but I think he's in his class like a top 25 Ohio player from Olentangy. Dwayne Galloway from Marion Franklin, not Walnut Ridge, back to Marion Franklin.
I think so. I couldn't determine that, but the rumor is that now he's back to Marion Franklin.
We had to change the image a little bit, but obviously massive name that we've all been hearing about a lot lately, commits to Purdue. Our boy Tyson Long, the former quarterback, moving over to corner.
Moving to the good side.
North. He was on the all gas team last year. He's got a handful of offers. Super excited for the kid. I love that kid. I think he's a very good physical lockdown corner. Jonathan Stevens, Westerville North. Electric, man. Electric on the offensive side of the ball, too. I went to the scrimmage last year with Westerville North and Reynoldsburg and some other teams. And when he's in the backfield, too, and they're giving him the ball and putting him at slot, he's like a Desmond Howardish, man. They just move him all around, and he can do a lot of great stuff. He's committed Northwestern. Caleb Anthony, Afrocentric.
Hold on real quick. You said Northwestern. I have to ask you guys this.
Yeah.
What do you think about their new stadium they're playing in this year?
Where are they playing? I forget.
Have you seen the picture? It looks so small. I don't know how you play a Big Ten game there.
It's insane. It's like It's like their practice facility. It's like right off the water, and it's like 4,000 fans.
Oh, they're rebuilding the new one, right?
Yes. They'll play
I saw the renderings for the new one. Looks sick.
New one looks sick.
And their practice facility's sweet. Hey, whatever you got to do to have what you need at the end, man.
You're right. We'll get to you on. Sorry about that. I just had to.
No, you're good. All right. Caleb Anthony, Afrocentric, right? Afrocentric's loaded, man.
I'm telling you, Coach
Caleb
Davis
Anthony,
is doing a great job.
he was an all-state kid, very good in the backfield. I'm super excited to watch them and see what they've done. I'm with you. I think when I watched them at our Trench Fest we had, they're very good up front. They have skill guys that go with them. I think they're poised to have a massive year. And then Terrace Dudley from Hilliard Bradley committed to Toledo. I don't know a ton about him. I know he's a really good player. We're going to see him Saturday, so I'll know more about it.
I'm going to tell you right now, when we did our 7-on-7 with him, I went straight to Coach Laparo and was like, who is that kid? That Dudley kid looks like a creative player on the new NCAA. No questions. He's huge. He had his shirt rolled up, right? Like
he plays strong safety for him.
Yeah, he plays safety for him, played receiver. He was huge.
Yeah,
makes plays. Great kid, flies around. And then I also think that's what I'm saying. Afrocentric is loaded, man. They got dudes. I think they're going to do a huge thing this year if they can stay healthy and grind through the season. Coach Davis has done an amazing job over there. And then Galloway as well, man. Committed to Purdue, probably one of the most lengthy guys that I've seen on film, right? Like he's got the long arms, long legs, and he's so fast. He's lightning fast.
Flies. Such an athletic group.
Yeah, they're just so – every single one of them you could talk about how just –
the DB group is so good.
It's so good.
That DB group is –
and I got to watch a lot of good film when I was looking at DBs.
Most of the time, like you're like, oh, you're going to make a team of 4 dudes. There is just so much talent in Columbus right now in the secondary. So that is our all-gas defensive team, our top super team right now that we found. And let's get into talking about the offense.
As Coach Stout alluded to, we got our all-gas offensive team. About time we got to the good stuff. Defense wins championship, offense builds dynasties. This next topic for today's show is powered by First Down Playbook. First Down Playbook is the nation's leading playbook and play design software with over 35,000 professionally drawn and editable team plays with notes, full playbooks, anything you can think of to start from. You'll be on your way to getting an edge over the competition. First Down Playbook can be your entire team management system and your entire community management system with practice schedules, scripts, custom quarterback wristbands, play cards, you name it. If you use the code headsets24 or mention the show, you'll get $100 off the already most affordable option in today's game. Again, the link's provided in our show notes. You still got time. Utilize this option. It's a price option where you can get it and play around this season and really determine if you want to use it going forward full time. I think we would all say you wouldn't have any regrets if you decided to go with this.
Absolutely. They just dropped a new feature. They just came out with their scouting report feature, right? So you think about the whole, you can make practice scripts on there, right? You can make QB wristbands. You could search entire playbooks, right? You could put your entire community, youth league, middle school, freshman, JV, varsity, streamlined there. And now they just came out with the newest thing about creating scouting reports on there too, and having a section and things that are designed for that. The value the efficiency, first down playbook is amazing. I love doing it with our plays of the day and different things I've done. It's fantastic. Check them out. They have a free trial. Use our code when you want to dive in and be a part of the family, and you won't regret it. So I'm going to get us started. We got the all gas offensive team. I've got the quarterbacks and the running backs. All right. And quarterback wise, went with Brennan Ward.
Now you got quarterbacks and receivers.
No,
I got running back and tight end.
Fine. I'll take receivers.
I was just letting you know.
All right, that's fine. So Brennan Ward, handling in Kentucky commit, right? Obviously 3.5-year-ish starter at this point in time, right? Just big arm, developed this entire time all the way up through. Super smart kid, coach's dream, heading into his senior year, and definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the area. Jaron Mock, Perkington North. Here we go. 2 monster quarterbacks in the same conference. Came over from Reynoldsburg recently, just a couple of days ago or last week, committed to Wisconsin. Super excited for obviously Wisconsin. Phil Longo. I love the air raid. I love everything he does. Super excited to see what Jaron Mock does on a kind of more superpower team and some athletes around them. So those are our top 2 guys. We got some honorable mention guys coming up as well. But we kept it to 2, and those are the 2 we thought. Running backs are just insane, Ryan. Go ahead.
Running backs, these 2 guys are unreal. This one's a huge one. Kentrell Reinhardt going over to Westland this year, leaving Bishop Reedy and heading over to Westland into the public school area. And, man, he had literally NCAA stats last year. He did an amazing job for them. What I'm excited about is we get to scrimmage them, so I get to see him in action. That's our second scrimmage. And then also I'm excited to see him against his competition, though, in the OCC, because now he's committed, I think, NC State, yep, which is awesome for him. Coach Goebel is over there right now. That's a guy that was the Ohio guy. He was the offensive coordinator at Ohio Dominican for the first year when I got there, and then went to Marshall and is now at NC State. So that's a good pickup for them. And then also Michael Taylor from Pickerington North, committed to Ohio University. Last year sat behind Sam Williams-Dixon, who's at Ohio State now for those first few games. And then now he's exploded and got a couple offers. Looks really good, super explosive as well. Pick North, they got some dudes, man. Like when you look at their list, they're listed.
No pressure, Nate.
There's no pressure for Nate Hillerich this year. I'll tell you that. There's none at all, huh? But no, it'll be a good season for these running backs. It'll be an exciting season for Central Ohio for the running backs. I love watching running back film. Next, it will be the tight ends. So these guys, I think for tight ends, man, I can't Stout, you teach this kid at school, so you're going to have to help me with this last name.
I don't teach him. He's too smart for me. But Trevor Kielmeyer.
Is Trevor Kielmeyer,
Yep.
Westerville South commit, another Northwestern commit. Obviously, he's a very smart kid because he's not in Stouts classes.
Not in Stouts classes. Trevor Kielmeyer, his dad actually teaches in the school. He's one of the toughest teachers in the school. Super tall, like a 6'6", 6'7" tight end. Absolutely exploded last year.
I
had every single school from the Big Ten and you name it was coming to try to get him to commit to their school.
I saw him at the 7-on-7, and I was like, man, that is a monster of a man. Jeez. Even in our star, man, he's a young cat sophomore, not fully developed all the way yet. And man, he was trying to play. He was playing so physical with them. He actually got that dude to drop 2 passes, and then that dude dunked one on his head. But he's a really explosive kid. And then another one that I got to see this year that I had no clue about was this Beckett Miller kid at Olentangy Orange. We went out to Olentangy Orange, and I thought that this dude was a coach when he walked out on the field. I'm like, why do they got a coach in a jersey? This kid's huge. And he came out, played tight end, and he moves very well. It looked like him and Levi had some quarterback. Levi Davis had good connections there, and they obviously work on their routes, and I think West Schroeder will get that place rolling over there.
Yeah, they did really well. We compete against them in 7-7 as well. And you mentioned it before we actually played him, and I agree. He's huge, man. You can see it. I got the wide receivers, right? And we're gonna go with a repeat Preston Bowman. Probably one of
Unbelievable
the
group here
top,
too, though.
Yeah.
Unreal group.
probably one of the top wide receivers in the area. Was on the team last year, committed to Kentucky. Sharon Deuce White, Pickerington Central, committed to Marshall. Jackson Wiley from Olentangy has not committed anywhere yet, but has a ton of offers, had a massive year last year. And Tazon Burns, right, from Columbus East, who has recently come back over to, not back over, but come to Gahanna. And I think he had, last time I looked, had 18 or so offers. Really electric type of a kid. Really great, fast set of receivers, man. Massive playmakers. They're all the number ones on their team. Could you imagine putting together a super team of just all of them together?
Unstoppable.
It would
Could
be
you see that offense just
unreal.
like playing in a 7-on-7 together?
Love it.
It would be
unstoppable.
unbelievable if that was a 7-on-7 team.
It'd be crazy, man.
Yeah. All right. I got the offensive linemen, the big boys. I'll start off with
It's a
Coach
good group.
Stouteni's guy.
Hey, why did we do? No, hold on. This is what I'm not happy about, though. Why did we not start with the O line? Because that's the most important piece. Or did we say
Donnie don't fight like that, man? Donnie
Save
don't
the best
fight.
for last.
Donnie
Save
don't
the
fight
best.
like that.
Save the best for last. But I'll start it off with our guy over at Gahanna Lincoln, Jeremy McDowell. He's started every game for us since he was a sophomore at center, and he's athletic enough to play pretty much anywhere we need him. He's committed to Army, and man, he's just an athletic freak. He's been working on that technique all since he's been a sophomore. You've seen it translate. You've seen the physicality grow with him as he's grown in maturity and in age. So he's a kid that I'm super excited for going forward in his career at Army and going forward this season for his senior year. Now we got Jake Cook out of Westerville North, who was already a riser as a sophomore. He's a big mauler. I remember seeing him as a sophomore a couple years ago in our first scrimmage and going, man, that kid's huge. Dropped some weight, started moving better as a junior. At one point was committed to Louisville not too long ago. And then very quickly the local Columbus product got the offer from Ohio State and is going to be a Buckeye come December if he does the early enroll graduation, which I would think that he's going to do. Over back at Pickerington and Pickerington North, you got Aiden and are committed to Miami University. He is one of those guards, man, that you see. It's just like a brick wall. He's so tough with his hands in the run game. He's a brick wall in the pass game. Had some injuries last year, I think, late in the season, but I've seen him through social media work his way back up, and he's in for a huge year at Pickett North. They're just pumping out guards as well, an offensive lineman these past couple years over at Pick North. Still in Pickerington at Century, you got Parker Harden, committed to Tennessee State, a mountain of a man. He's 6'6", 6'7", like 330 pounds. He's got all the potential in the world as he goes to the next level. But right now, in that scheme at Pick Central, we can just get his hands on you and put you to the ground. That's what he's successful at, man. So he is going to be a great blindside protector for their left-handed quarterback this year once again. And then lastly is Coach Sayers' guy, Malachi Hammond at Northland. Man, watch this film. The motor this kid has with the size he has makes it a scary combination. That you can see it on his film that he wants to punish the defensive lineman or linebacker when he gets second level. And when you add that size and that physical ability, man, you turn on that tape and you see some scary stuff in there. You see some really scary stuff in there.
I love the big boys, man. That list is fire right there, too.
It's been strong in the last couple of years.
Malachi, man, his senior year, huge year for him. He was injured before at his freshman year for us and struggled to get back. His knee has bothered him. But this year and last year, I watched this dude go to every O-line training during the offseason with our offensive line coach and just grow into a great O-lineman, I'll say an elite O-lineman for high school football for sure. I know some of the 7-on or the trench fest stuff doesn't really translate that well. When you're an O-lineman, I think you're hemming dudes up all the time, every rep consistently, and that stuff. That means you can move and you can do the right things. Jake Cook, he was what I liked about him. I feel was seeing him at the trench fest, and he was trying to finish people still. He was running his feet right. People fell. He fell on top of him.
Knee streak in him. I like
People
it. Jay
can
Cook got a
you
little.
get mad at that stuff or whatever, but I like that stuff as a coach. I like when my guy goes and falls on someone and they fall. Yeah, that's what play the game violent, play the game nasty. That's not a penalty.
You
That's
don't
nothing.
get to the Division I level without being violent and finish people. That's for sure.
Right.
Mhm.
It's a really good group. Jake Cook obviously has played a lot of tackle. I think he's sliding in the center for Ohio State. I think that's where they're really going to try to play him from what it sounds like, where I've heard. Little honorable mention, right? There's so many offensive talent. We had to give a little bit of love. I just wanted to talk about two more quarterbacks. Andrew Leonard for Old Tangy Liberty. The dude is an absolute moxie machine, man. Anybody that can run the Philly special, win a playoff game, and throw the whole Marshawn Lynch, hold my what as you go across the end zone is a guy I can battle with. And you got Levi Davis for Olentangy Orange. And when we played Olentangy Liberty, man, they were dotting us up. They were throwing it. He can fly it around. He can throw the ball, man. Wide receiver, Mary Valerio Hudson from Dublin Kaufman. Army has been killing it in Central Ohio, right? There's a handful of commits there. He's one of them. Super fast kid for Dublin Kaufman that they move around and play in the slot. And just when you think they're running to get him vertical. And then another offensive lineman. I'm surprised he didn't make the list here with Coach Eli. Is it Helmuth for Marysville? 6 foot, God knows whatever, 300 pounds something. Marysville puts out them corn-fed big kids, man. Really big physical lineman.
That was one stout back in the day, the corn-fed big boy.
Yeah.
Corn-fed, baby.
Corn-fed big boy.
Couple honorable mentions that we just had to give it a little bit of love to, but that's our all-gas offensive and defensive teams for 2024.
Hey, man, good luck to all you guys on that team, man. Good luck to everybody out there for that.
Yeah.
Crazy team, man. Crazies.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into the next segment, the final segment for the night.
All right, as always, we try to break down the high school football season into 4 quarters, right? And so in this first quarter, we're going to go around and we're going to talk about some of our top games from weeks 1 through 3. And I think what we'll do is we'll just go week 1, all of us, right? Let's talk about week 1. We'll talk about week 2, talk about week 3, right? Obviously, the biggest and easiest game to talk about in week 1 is Pickerington North versus St. Ed's. It is the game that's got the most attention. It is a superstar rivalry matchup. It is a game where two teams have played each other for 3, 4, 5 years in scrimmages, so they have some familiarity with each other as well. That is an exciting, massive matchup between those two. That's an easy one. For me, my other week 1 games were anytime you can start week 1 with a rivalry, and you got Olentangy versus Olentangy Liberty, right?
I love that.
I love that. You got this massive rivalry to kick off the start of your season, adds that little extra. And then the game that a lot of people are talking about.
This is my favorite game, most interesting game.
Yeah,
the year.
There's a lot of interesting matchups in these first couple weeks. Schedules are changing. Things were very vanilla for a while.
This one is wicked to me because of what's being said around Central Ohio about this game.
Yeah, and so this matchup we're talking about is Harvest Prep versus Pickerington Central. It is a game right now that is certainly circled for Harvest Prep. There's a lot of people talking about Pickerington Central's schedule this year. This is a game that has a lot of eyes watching it because it is such a massive difference. Are they Division 4? Are they Division 4?
I think maybe lower.
5? They're 5 or 4 maybe.
4 or 5. But here's the thing. This is what I was saying to my staff the other day about
very good football.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great football. Harvest Prep produces great dudes and they look great on film. But here's the other piece I was telling my coaches. You get to talking in the coach's office, just hanging out after practice. And we were just talking. And I said, what a tough spot for Pick Central to be in. One, you win this game. And everyone's like, you should have won that game.
Yep.
You should have won that game. You lose that game. the season feels so heavy after week 1.
So we've been in this position too. We've had a couple teams reach out to us with open dates, and it was the exact same thing. It was teams that were really good and dangerous at a lower level. I'm just going to say Ironton, right? Ironton at one point in time had reached out to us about a game, and it was the exact same position. It was like, you win, you should have won. You lost, what are you doing? That type
Yeah.
of thing.
And that's
This
the
is
tough part. And I
this
guess this is
isn't
why they're doing it. I don't know if you guys know this, but Jack Johnson was the head coach at Harvest Prep before and was the head coach at Pick Central. So he's being honored at that game as well as like a Jack Johnson game
right.
because
I
that's
didn't
what
know that.
Harvest Prep's field is named after.
Didn't know
I
that.
like it. What's your week ones sayers that are different from
I
obviously
wrote in there, everyone knows, right? PN versus St. Ed's. There is, I talked to Nate the other day. I went golfing with Hillerton. I was like, "You feeling a lot of pressure?" He's, yeah, I ain't showing it, but yeah, this will be a good one. They're excited. I think they're gonna come out on fire. And it's another one of those games that's for Pick North. It's gonna show them who they are, right? Show them early, show them what type of team they are. And I'm excited to see the score after that game and just see who wins and see how that goes. But my favorite week 1 matchup that I saw was Upper Arlington versus Glenville. That's another unique week 1 game to me. With Glenville winning the state championship.
Glenville's playing a lot of Columbus teams in this
Yeah,
first quarter.
but here's the thing, UA is always one of the toughest teams in Central Ohio
sure.
with Coach Buttermore over there killing it. And
Great
he
culture,
does
great scheme.
and they're one of those teams that doesn't flash anything, doesn't show a lot on social media, none of that stuff. You know what I mean? But they just play very hard and they do a great job. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Glenville. And then I think, like you said, starting it off with a rivalry, I love it. I think that's awesome. So I got Westerville Central versus Westerville North Circle for that week 1 game too. I think that'll be a real big tell. Hey, you got Stanley Jackson over there running the program, rolling right now. Everybody from the outside looking in, seeing that it's rolling. And then you got Coach Frankie
Putting the pads on early.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe got caught for that. But Westerville Central over there with their new coach, and he's trying to do a lot of things. They got Gwen. So that's an exciting game to me. I don't know about that for you guys, but it is for me.
I love it. No, there's something fun going on in Westerville, right? I'm gonna get into it later, but all the Westervilles are playing each other in their first couple weeks, right? They're doing that rule of Ville right off each other. So, Donnie, what you got, man?
Yeah, the one I got, and I had Westville North and Westville Central like Sayers did, but the one that was unique for me is I got Groveport versus Hilliard Bradley. I think two teams that when you're talking about like the front seven or just inside the box on defense and offense for that team, I think that is going to be an ultra physical game week 1 off the rip where it's got the physicality that Hilliard Bradley brings up front on the offensive line and that tight end in that run game versus what we know Groveport's front seven boxes, and then vice versa, right? What Hilliard Bradley is known for, and that defense going up against that more physical run style offense of Groveport. So I'm excited to see, well, not see it, but I'm excited for that game, just the physicality and those implications of that game moving forward and see how those two teams battle it out.
No doubt. When you think about like last 5-10 years, major upsets, Groveport's been in that mix, right? They've upset Pick Central and a bunch of other teams
all the time
when they were really good. And I think Groveport has to get back to controlling that clock a little bit, right? If they can control that clock, I think they could be there.
Every time I see Groveport, they have dudes all over the place. And if they can get those guys to buy into culture over there and play together and play hard every single game and be consistent, man, they can be a dangerous football team.
This was one of my exciting finds for week 2. And I went with, we're going to transition now, Columbus Academy, Jonathan Alder, right? Sned's a massive boy. He follows the show, been on it multiple times, fills in and helps. So I like it just from the matchup. It's two really good programs that are super detailed, going to play the right way, going to play absolutely hard, have great cultures, but they're different too, though. Columbus Academy is a super good spread team. At least last time I watched them, they were. It's been a few years. Jonathan Alder, a little bit differently offensively, but two really good communities, two really good programs, two really good cultures. If I had a chance to go to a game, I would love to go to that game because I think it would be absolutely very good from start to finish.
I love that pick. I didn't even know they were playing each other either, and I
I've
was like,
told you, I
that's a fire
scoured. I
pick.
clicked on everybody's schedule. That's in a fire game. A few years ago, I got to go watch my cousin in the playoffs play at Columbus Academy. Great place to catch a game. Great team. I know the offensive coordinator from school. I'm losing names right now. He listens. We've talked a few times. That's a great game. My other one, rivalries, right? You've got head coach Eric Callen taking over Westerville South. You got Josh Frank taking over Westerville Central. You got this rivalry game. By that point, it's week 2. You're talking about who's going to rule that ville between Westerville and who's going to have that crown and the bragging rights. Massive rivalry game. Super excited for a week 2 matchup with them, and another one I would go check out.
Week 2 is another exciting week for me too. I love this one that I found, the first one that I found clicking through, because I'm super interested about this Westland team, seeing the Monty Smith kid, being able to see Kentrell Reinhardt. So that Westland versus Grove City game out there on the west side, I think that'll be a huge game come week 2. Then also, I think as well as this one's a huge one for me. I found this one. It's our guy Birchfield. He's going to have a battle week 2 with Youngstown Ursuline. And Ursuline's always been a very good program, top tier program, and they're getting back to rolling now. They beat Fitch last year, actually stomped them for the first time and for a long time. But that'll be interesting to see how Hartley matches up with those Northeast Ohio team. And then next is I got one more. It's Hilliard Davidson versus Canal. Canal always looks like a good, tough program. They always run a great program. Coach Keener over there does a great job, and he's a tougher dude himself. So he runs just a gritty program that gets down to work and gets down to business. And so I'm excited to see what he can do against Hilliard Davidson, who's also known for their toughness, right? And they play tough, hard-nosed football out there. So I think those are 3 great week 2 games.
Yeah, they are. I got 2 games for week 2. The first one, I don't know how many years in a row we've seen this. I want at least 2, maybe more, but Pick Central.
Way more. These 2 teams need to play each other.
Yeah, Pick Central versus Huber Heights Wayne. Just those 2 like powerhouse programs, one of Columbus, one over in the Dayton area. Continuing this matchup, a very physical matchup each time. I think the score has been pretty close each year they've done this, and there been some games where there's really been some fireworks and crazy endings going. The second one I have is interesting because of the dynamic. It's Olentangy Berlin and versus Upper Arlington. Kind of the established program, or one of the established programs in Columbus, which is Upper Arlington, going up against a team in Olentangy Berlin that had a phenomenal year last year. I don't remember what their record was. I think they were 9-1 in the regular season, and then they won a playoff game. So I think they had double-digit wins. Had some injuries late. Yeah, quarterback got hurt. But having that new up-and-coming program, a new up-and-coming high school. Like the high school hasn't been around for very long. It's the newest of the Olentangy schools thus far. So having that kind of dynamic of, hey, we're the new kid on the block. We just did some phenomenal things last year versus the established culture and program that is Upper Arlington, I think is a really exciting match.
Hey, that stuff blows my mind, though. Imagine, this is what I think about all the time. Like, yeah, obviously you couldn't have one high school at these places, but could you imagine if every single school district just played one high school? They had 3 high schools, but they played one high school football team together.
It'd be crazy.
They're doing a 5th high school in Olentangy. It's insane.
But imagine if they all played for just Olentangy football high school, Olentangy high school football, and they all came together, all the football players from those.
Crazy. Put the Westbrook's together, put the Pickeringtons together. You're talking just insane amounts of
Hilliards or Dublins together.
Hey, I'm telling you this right now, it would look like a lower level college football game.
They could probably beat some. They could beat some college teams, let's be honest. Week 3, I went big game, small game, right? Big game. Super intriguing to me. Dublin Kaufman versus St. Ignatius.
I like that.
I think we're starting to see a massive change where people are okay traveling now. ADs are okay paying the bus bill. I don't know what it is, but we're starting to see people are moving out and branching out a little bit in these early weeks. And I think that the playoffs have changed now too, and so people are a little bit more about playing tougher opponents a little bit early on and seeing how that benefits your team in the long run. I think that's an awesome matchup.
I was going to say
And
that's
then
the huge things, Kyle, is the playoffs changing. People aren't
changed,
afraid to
yeah.
play people now.
Yeah, for sure. And then my small school game, Eastmore Academy versus Canton South.
I like
Two
that one.
really good programs. I'm pretty sure Canton South over there is where Coach K, who I used to coach with at Wadsworth, Ohio, he's the DC there. Obviously, Eastmore has been very good. That's a great small school game of some teams that have done some really big things in years past. That's one a little sneaky under the radar game for me.
I like that one. I like that. I think for me, week 3, I gotta give my shout out to my brother Sneddy, right? JA versus Bloom Carroll. I know that's
Big
always
game.
a tough game for him. It's a big game for them. And they always work super hard to get that game. Hope him and Chris can get it done this year. Nothing against the Bloom Carroll guys, but Jay, those are my guys over there. But they do. That's a huge game for them, man. I hope the best for him this year. I hope he goes and tears them up. Next would be you guys, right? You guys in Olentangy Liberty. I think Olentangy Liberty is always that team that's at the beginning, for some reason, their record doesn't look great. But then
They
they're
play
just
massive
so
teams.
good
Yeah.
because that's what I was just saying. They play huge teams, tough teams, right? They got Glenville week 2 as well. That's another thing that they have as well. They've done it a couple of years, but they are so good all the time. They have great kids. They're well coached and they do a great job. And then this is the third one that was interesting to me. And this is a huge one because I was talking to Coach Wiggins today about some JV stuff. And this game came up to me was the DeSales versus Afrocentric game. I think that can be a very interesting game for Afrocentric. Like they have dudes, if they're healthy and they go in that game very healthy, I would say they have more dudes that have offers than DeSales. It would be interesting to see how they do against them. And I think they can match up really well.
Yeah. I like it. All right, my last two for week 3, going back with Olentangy Berlin playing New Albany. I love the dynamic of the two different types of offenses. Just seeing how that could play out with one side having such a dynamic run game, the other side obviously doing some explosive things on offense last year at Olentangy Berlin. So excited about that game. And then might be a little unconventional, but my other one is Dublin Jerome versus Hilliard Davidson, and I'll give you the reason why. I think both these teams right now, they're not so much unique to Columbus, but like we talked about earlier, having all those high schools in one city, and Hilliard and Dublin being both one of them, where there's 3 high schools in each. And both of these teams sat back for the past 2 years, at least, these groups of seniors, and said, Hilliard Davidson, all they've heard about is how great Hilliard Bradley is, right? They've been in the spotlight. They've been taking that over a little bit. Dublin Jerome kind of hearing the same for Dublin Kaufman for a while. So seeing these two teams in action as being in that shadow of their other teams in their city and seeing how this starts to translate early on, see if that chip on the shoulder falls through. And so having two teams that I think is going to be interesting for a week 3 matchup.
I love
a lot of great football in these first 3 weeks, man.
Good luck
You
to
scour it,
everybody.
man. Hey, we hope everybody has a great season.
Boy,
You
good
stay
luck to you guys
healthy.
to start your year, man. Good luck to you guys. Who's the scrimmages looking like?
We have Hilliard Bradley Saturday and Westerville North. Those are our 2 scrimmages.
Good luck to my guys, man. I know we're about to
Absolutely,
start getting
right.
busy.
It is busy, right? And so you're not going to hear from us for a while. But hey, download, check out some of these games, keep with us, and we can't wait to talk about a little update when we get to quarter 2. But Ryan, go ahead, wrap it up, man.
Thank you guys so much for listening, man. Make sure you click download. Make sure you go to our YouTube, our Spotify, Apple, everything that you can hear us on, and subscribe, download. Bookmark our stuff. I learned that if you're on Instagram, bookmark our stuff. That helps with some algorithm
Ryan
stuff.
called me the other day about all this
stuff. Me and Stout were talking for a while. I don't know. I was reading a lot of different things. I was bored the other day for some reason. But my wife has an in-home daycare, man. Don't judge me. Sometimes I gotta go.
Okay.
I gotta go sit on the throne.
Great. We
You know what I
appreciate
mean?
you grinding for the squad.
I go sit on the throne, the male throne, and go act like I'm taking a deuce, and I'm actually just sitting on my phone. But you know how that works, Stout, when you got kids. But we appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening to us. Good luck to all the players across Central Ohio, not just our all gas teams. Good luck to everybody. Stay healthy. Get through these weeks, man. Make sure that you guys contact us, hit us up with anything, any questions. But good luck to everybody, man, and especially you two, man. Good luck to you guys.
You as
Let's
well,
get it,
Sam.
man. It's here.
It's here. It's football season.
Finally.